Hey guys, how's it going? Mies here, back with another Epic 7 video, and today we are again going to be going over some Guild Wars. So today we have a Guild Wars against this guild called Bracer. Looks like they haven't really attacked us yet. We're currently winning as a result, but we'll see. Hopefully that stays. And yeah, if you guys enjoy this video, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and leave a comment down below. Let's get into it. So this is the first fight that we had, and it's a very, very straightforward fight. And this is the reason why single DPS lineups are really, really bad. So top team I went with Amelia, Milim, and AOL. And the reasoning for that is because Amelia pushes. So AOL is really just there as a failsafe, and two as a book holder. So AOL goes, does her thing, doesn't really matter. She could have even S1'd. Amelia goes, pushes up Milim, and then I just soul burn S1 into S3 into Rimuru. Like, it was that easy. And he died. He dies, and the Ruel can't revive anybody. They have no DPS, and they lose. So this is why single DPS lineups are really, really bad. They're super exploitable. You basically just find a way to just kill that one unit, and then it's done. Like, there really isn't much to it. So guys, I warn you guys, don't use single DPS lineups. Second team, or actually, we'll go over what I would do instead if I didn't have Milim on this top team. What you could also do is Falcon or Clury into some sort of extinct unit, like, I don't know, one Milim. You could have a top model Luluka as well, though she's a little bit harder to get since she's a 5-star ML. You could also use like an Angelica, Sympho Angelica, and then try to and then do something to kill, and then Sympho Angelica into Flurry into like a strong single target DPS unit, like as a Hawk, or like, I don't know, any like big single target DPS nuker. Like, it's super easy. You really don't need to do much for this team. You just need to blow up the Rimuru, and that's all that matters. And extinct them so the Ruel can't revive. Bottom team. So this is a really bad team as well, unfortunately. So with Belian, you might think that Landy's a bad idea, but she doesn't do enough damage to really threaten Landy. So it makes this lineup very Landyable. Belian doesn't threaten Landy. Maid Chloe makes Landy even better because she fuels her with more buffs. And Spectenny is pretty much like a single target damage dealer. Every now and then she might hit the Landy with her S1, but, you know, it's like a 50-50 chance, right? So you bring in Landy, you win. Just keep S3ing, keep her alive, which is why we have the Ruel to tank the Spectenny, but also to revive her if she dies because of a stray hit. And then Trozette just to keep her safe, because my Landy is a speed Landy. She doesn't have much survivability, so I need the Trozette there to just keep her alive, make sure she doesn't die. Normally, if you have a Bruiser Landy, it's even better. You don't even need the Trozette. Just bring like a Crow, or like, well, not Crow, because for this case, I wasn't sure if it was an injury Belian or not. If it was an injury Belian, definitely Crow would have been a bad idea. Bring like a, FCC, or like a Crimson Armin, or a, heck, even Pilus, SC Pilus, or just some sort of like tank Aureus holder to mitigate damage. But yeah, this actually ended up not being a injury Belian, but a counter Belian, and as a result, it was even worse. Because if it was a counter Belian, you could literally use any like, long, like any bruiser into this fight. Like SSB would have been another really good pick into this team. My SSB is not very well built, so that's why I didn't use her. But if you have a well-built SSB, I think SSB could be a really strong pick into this team as well, even with an injury Belian. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. So this one's pretty straightforward. Again, these single DPS lineups are just very, very weak and successful, especially if you have like a single DPS and Reviver. You're just asking to get extinct. Unfortunately, I didn't land my attacks onto this dude. But it's okay. Because we're just going to kill him here. Or not my attacks, my unbuffable. My strips. I got 15%ed by him. And yeah, that's game. That is why you really don't want to use a single DPS lineup. Because it's really bad. I'm just going to heal here just to cycle quicker. Oh wait, I forgot to turn on the volume. There we go. This is last Guild War too, and regret it. There we go. And then I don't know. I'm hoping that I'll be able to silence the Drell for long enough so that I can get my Milim's S3 back up. But we'll see. What's my cooldowns looking like? She has 2 turns left, so let's just push her up.
Careful, please move
Let's see.
aside.
Nice. Nice. And she's dead. And then again, I'm gonna try to keep her silenced.
Stand down.
I'm just gonna do this because she's already silenced. Do this. My Milim's going up next already. Let's do this. And I think she's dead. Milim, such a good unit. Cool. Alright. This second fight. So this the problem with this team is that it's very landyable. Even though, like, yeah, Belion's kind of like, oh, you don't want to bring Landy in here because I'm just going to keep hitting you. But the problem is that, she doesn't really threaten, right? She doesn't, like, kill, is the problem.
You'll be so much more useful once you're dead.
Unfortunately, Landy did not Guiding Light, but I guess, you know, this AoE makes it so it doesn't really matter too much. And this is why we have the Royal here, to bait her.
Try to make it fun.
Why not surrender? Glory be with us.
So, I'm just gonna try to keep myself topped up here. And we're just gonna keep hitting this Belion, because I'm assuming she's on injury? Maybe? Oh wait, no, I think she's on counter, actually. Which makes this team even worse. Because, like, normally you have an injury Belion, and then you like, oh, well, I can't play these, like, super... Like, as the opponent, you don't want to play these super, like, grindy teams, basically. Like, a bruiser, long-lasting game teams. But because... Like, she's not even on injury. This is actually even less of a threat. It's even more of a reason to use Landy into this. You just have three very Landyable units. Like, literally Maid is, like, fueling Landy because she's adding so many buffs. And then S10, she's, yeah, I mean, she has like some AoE, but still mostly single target. She has to RNG the AoE onto Landy.
Leave it to me.
Glory be with us.
I wish.
And then, like Belion, again, she just doesn't threaten, right? So you could still Landy her pretty easily. Like, people think that she's like, you know, good against Landy, but she really isn't. Especially if you have her on counter. Chatty. This guy's got some really interesting builds going on. Alright, that is a win. This is the second tower I went to. Unfortunately, I messed up on the first fight, and I lost it. But the team itself works. So I have Trozette, Amelia, and Milim up top. So how it works is that the Sea Lilius is going to S3, and then S2 into the Trozette. So even if it lands, it doesn't really matter too much. Amelia is supposed to push up Milim, then she's supposed to kill the Landy with her S3, and then it's like GG from there on out. But unfortunately, what happened was on the bottom team, I was running Zahak against this Violet, and I was like, all right, I'll put Symbol of Unity on him. I'll use Book on Milim at top. It should be completely fine. But then I forgot that there was a Belian up top, and Book didn't work. So what I should have done is kept the Symbol of Unity on my Milim, so it would have killed the Landy. And Zahak, it doesn't matter if he misses or not on the bottom. Like, this, again, is this flaw of the single target, single DPS lineup, right? You just bait that one DPS, and you can't do anything. So, bottom team, if I run Zahak on, let's say, Draco's play, right? Even if he misses his first attack, I just attack some other targets until his S3 comes back up, and then I go again on the Violet. And eventually, my crowd would also probably get low enough to S3 the Violet and kill him. So it's not a very good team. Top team, I would say, like, it's better. It's still not amazing, but I just kind of messed up, unfortunately. If I had run Symbol of Unity, I would have won. Or the other thing is, my Trozette got provoked by the Belian because the Belian had effectiveness buff. It RNG'd the effectiveness buff to hit him. He has like 170% effectiveness, so it shouldn't have happened. But yeah, kind of a perfect storm situation at the top. I should have won that, but I didn't. This team works. Top team, if you don't have Milim again, it's really tough. Like, I keep using Milim, and like, because she's so good in Guild Wars, right? But, you know, if you don't have her, then I'd say a good alternative for the top team is, I mean, you can always just outspeed them, right? If you have like a really fast like team, like you could just, I don't know, ran Caesarea the top team if you had a fast enough speed ran to outspeed that. Could also use Charlotte, probably works pretty well into the top team, but you'd probably want to use like an Amelia to push her up, just because like over time the Belian is going to be starting to, you know, do a lot of damage, and then the Landy is going to like ramp as well. So you're going to want to like have a ramper for your end to make sure she, you know, gets to get turns and attack. What else works up top? Could probably use a Champ Z, to be honest. It might work. Maybe not. I don't think Champ Z is really good into this top team. Could run a Basar into this team to to give unbuffable to the Landy. Then you can just do whatever you want to the Landy. Yeah, Landy's pretty countered by anything that takes her out of stealth. So, yeah, that's what I would recommend. Bottom team, I ran with a Maid Chloe, Crow, Zahak. Again, I went over this a little bit before. Single target DPS, just bait it, and then Zahak just kills, and then they have no DPS. So, very straightforward, very simple. All right, let's get into this. So this one's, again, Conqueror Lilius. One thing you want to do is, if you're not confident in outspeeding her, you want to put a dark tank up front, or just somewhere. Sorry, I put it say up front. Oh shoot, I realized that my girl, what should I call it? Even though I had what should I call it on her? I had a book on her. I put book on her, but I realized that they have a Belian, so it really doesn't work. And whoa, that Belian! I guess maybe the effect of this buff really just made things hard. This is actually rough. That mistake I made on my Milim might cost the game.
This is it.
Well, let's hope it
I'll
doesn't.
make you kneel before me.
Oh shoot, this is bad.
Do
That's
not
really bad.
fear death.
Oh no, I messed up.
Seizing the future.
I forgot they had a lion.
The time has come. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I brought book. No, I picked Amelia, but I didn't have enough damage without a symbol to one shot.
The door will remain closed. At least to you it will.
Yeah, no, I did that, but I don't have symbol on her. Cause I put it on Zahak. 'Cause I forgot she had book. I mean, I forgot they had a Belian, and a Belian doesn't let you have souls. It's a big mistake on my end.
The queen is here.
Now isn't the time to hesitate. I see your weakness. How futile your life is. Farewell. Resist as much as you can. I'll do my best.
I'll show you what I can do. I sentence you to death.
If you're ready, let's go. I'll finish this soon. Trivial creatures.
All right,
Don't deserve
and then this dude should be dead. There we go.
I
Nice.
deliver unto
And
you.
this should have been a double win, but unfortunately I messed up with my artifacts and stuff.
Cheap.
I could have just went without book on without symbol on this guy and just risked the 20% because there was like no chance like I lose this with this comp. Yeah, unfortunate. Very big oversight on my end.
Resist as much as you can. If you're ready, let's go.
Are you ready to order?
I'll finish this soon.
Does this kill? Nope. My S1 is
Now
not
isn't the time
bullet
to
very
hesitate.
well.
I'm not cheap. Here.
Prepare yourself. Prove your worth. I'll remove you like you never even existed.
Alright, here is the last fight. So, I lost my Amelia, unfortunately. If not, I would have just went with Amelia instead of the Maid Chloe, but whatever. Very straightforward again. You're going to want to... I had book on Milim this time, I think. Yeah, I think I had... No, I didn't have book on her. I had a Symbol of Unity because of the Violet. So... very straightforward. Crowd just baits both the green units. And then Milim kills the Rimuru. And then also kills the Violet. It's very straightforward. There's a little bit of like a, I guess, unexpected thing that happened in this Guild Wars fight. It's that my Maid Chloe outsped the Rimuru, which I guess I should have predicted because my Maid's like 210-ish. So I had to wait a turn before I S3, which kind of just slowed things down, which caused the fight to take a little longer. Because if I S3'd with Maid Chloe, then the Rimuru would have came in and stolen the revive buff and the attack buff from my Crow, who was going up next. So I didn't want to do that. So I just delayed everything by a turn, basically. Very straightforward. Just kill, extinct the units, they don't get revived, and you win. Bottom team, again, single DPS lineup. It's really bad, guys. Don't do it. I just brought Dillybet because Dillybet is really good in this team. Your team gets stripped, unbuffable, silenced, death broken, and unhealable by the Flan. Dillybet just cuts and S3s, and you just win from there. Like, it's very straightforward. If you don't have a Designer Lilibet, you can also use a Tempest Surin. Tempest Surin pretty much solos his team because she doesn't care about the debuffs, and when she gets hit by the RB S3 after the debuffs, she just cleanses it off and survives. Then you just S3 and you heal up. So Tempest Surin's also really good into this. Champsy's not that good into this, unfortunately, because he will get Death Broken by the Flan, and the RBS3 will probably kill him, unless he's super tanky, and the RB doesn't gab, right? So Champsy's not as good of a choice into this as you would think. If I didn't have Designer Lilibet or Tempest Surin, who would I use into this? I would probably, hopefully your guild has scouted for you, outspeed, because AOLs usually aren't that fast. So you could probably outspeed the AOL and then just, disable them, like using, Commander Lilius or Cerise, something like that. Cerise you can't stun her, but maybe like Commander Lilius, F10 maybe. You could just outspeed and cleave it. Like, you could just push up with A-Lots, S3 with BBK, and then kill the RB. Or use S3, or use Judge Kisei and kill the RB. Anything with 2 turns that gets rid of it. Or you could even just push up A-Lots like an extinct unit, like a Milim, or like a top model, or even a Cigarette, or a regular Lilibet. So those are all really good choices. Actually, regular Lilibet would be good into the top team too, because she does have the hit chance up on her attacks. So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys out, and let's get into it. So here are the stats of my units. My Amelia is not well geared at all. She is just kind of decently speedy. She has some effect resist and some survivability. She's compared to all my Soul Weavers, she's probably the worst geared, even though I use her the most, which is terrible. It's just because I can't seem to roll good effect resist gear. And I like keeping my good effect resist gear on units where it's super important, Maid Chloe, or even Doris, or Ruel. Ruel doesn't have the best effect resist either, but I don't for some reason I don't like having really good. I mean, I like to keep my best effect resist gear on those other Soul Weavers. Here's my Milim. She is one of my better built units. These are on Symbol of Unity. I swap her over to Book every now and then, depending on the matchup. Unfortunately, I swapped her on Book on the wrong matchup this time around, but she's a pretty tanky counter unit. I wish I had more speed on her, but it's just so hard to fit speed on her, given her offensive stats and her defensive stats. But that is my Milim. My Trozette is not amazingly geared. He's 175 speed, 170 effect resist, decently bulky. And then I also swap between the CR push and the health recovered to himself exclusive equipment, and I use Adamant on him. Yeah, I wish that Beline earlier did not proc the effect or the effectiveness buff, because he definitely wouldn't have debuffed me if that didn't happen. I definitely would have resisted it. So unfortunate. All perfect storm stuff. Here's my Landy. She is a faster speed Landy. Most people build her on Bruiser, which I would recommend on a 200 speed if you're trying to play standard. But in RTA, I actually play fairly aggressive. So I have a faster Landy for that reason. It just fits with my playstyle a little bit better. But I'd say for most people, a Bruiser Landy is probably best. I only have a 15 Guiding Light. Unfortunately, I didn't get that many, and I didn't want to wail on it either. So that's the situation. I showed you my Ruel earlier, actually, but we can go back to it again. Here's my Ruel. Nothing amazing. She's decently tanky, decent effect resist, decent speed, nothing crazy. Made Chloe's here. She has pretty low health, but decent defense, decent effect resist, not like crazy, and decent speed, nothing crazy. Again, most of my units are like very modestly geared. I'd say I don't get the best RNG with my gear. So here's my main Chloe. She's on Guardian Ice Crystals. I like this on her because it gives her a bit more effect resist, but also she kind of lacks heals, so it helps out with the healing as well. You can probably, I swap her between that and like Water's Origin, and maybe sometimes Shamadra's Staff, depending on the situation. But usually I have on Guardian Ice Crystals. My Crow is also very modestly geared. 25k HP, 206 speed. I don't even have 100 effect resist, which I would recommend. Unfortunately, I don't have the gear. I just don't roll effect resist gear for some reason. Effect resist speed gear, so I don't have very good, like a lot of effect resist gear, unfortunately. So that is my Crow. My Crimson Armin, she needs to be tuned a little bit more these days, because I run my units, like some of my units are pretty slow, like my SSB is like slower than her, so I want her to be a little bit slower than her too. Either that, or I need to change my SSB to be even slower, like base speed, which is honestly what you really want for her. But my SSB is like on Wyvern duty as well, so I need her to have some speed. But this is her gear. She actually has 100 effect resist. 171 speed to go after most of my units. You want in RTA, what you want is you want to take your DPS and all your units have their turn, and then Crimson Armin come in, defend them all while your opponent hits the invincibility. So she has pretty good survivability, I'd say. But again, pretty modest gear. I'm using 2 like raid gears as well. Nothing crazy, but pretty decent. Oh yeah, and here is my AOL. She is one of my better geared units. I use her on Book on offense, but I use her on defense for Arena, and I use her on Spirit's Breath when that happens. But she's pretty well geared. I like her. She's 200 effectiveness, pretty much. 273 speed, which is actually surprisingly, most people build the AOLs around like 250-ish. Like 250, 260. So I'd say my AOL is like one of my better geared units, given how fast she is with the amount of effectiveness, and she also has a little bit of bulk as well. And here's my Zahak. He is decently geared. I wouldn't say he's crazily geared, but he has good gear. Before I used him on Symbol of Unity in that fight, but normally he's just kind of on PvE duty. I use him for my Cades 13, so he doesn't really have like, I don't really prioritize the gear on him. I mean, sorry, we can, I'm just trying to find a, like, let's just take this off him, because every now, I usually actually run him on Draco's Plate if I don't have to worry about evasion units. But yeah, this is his stats. 4.1k attack, 222 speed, about 287% crit damage. He has no imprints. But yeah, I'd say he's also one of my like better geared units, even though I don't really use him in PvP all that often. But yeah, he's there when I need him for those clutch situations like earlier. And here is my designer Lilybet. She is kind of on like spare gear, like she's even all like 90 gears, just because she's not used very often. Like she's only there for like those heavy debuff teams, like the one we came against earlier. But I'd say she's okay geared, nothing crazy, but just okay. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. That should be about all the units, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.